Hello, beautiful soul, embodied on this earth through your beautiful, unique expression of source consciousness, awakening to remember. Day 97 with Mary Jo, Align and Shine. See if you resonate with this. See if you resonate with being a harmonizer, harmonizing the energies currently. Have you been called into greater stillness? Has things not been working out for you in the old ways of effort and striving and doing, with a deeper invitation and calling to come into beingness and surrender and trust and allowing and breath coherence? And I trust that if you have come upon this video, I don't, more than trust, I know as the field of coherence speaks through me, I know that if you have come upon this video, there is a resonant field of connectivity already present and guiding you to this. So let's breathe that in as I hear the rustle in the trees, as beautiful Flojo comes. She's so in tune. She is a multidimensional doggy bean who is very, very tuned in. So grateful for our beautiful, beautiful multidimensional family in all kingdoms, animal, plant, human, galactic. And as Three Eye Atlas is closest to the earth today, tomorrow, around this time, sending its cosmic waves of energetics to disrupt the old ways that we did coherence on the planet through our identities, our roles, our survival nervous system. And so that is being disrupted now. Hence why myself and so many are being guided into, to really into to be the beingness, nothing to do, everything to be. I am divine love, being the beingness of that frequency, to be able to anchor and stabilize through what can appear as change and chaos and confusion. And it certainly has been that for me. And yet the breath and the grounding is really what's being asked. To breathe, to ground, to allow, to surrender, to exhale out the old resistance, the old guard and armor around our hearts, that which was required to defend and to buffer against a harsh density world based on and created through the perceptions of separation and identity and roles and expectations and obligations and all the rest of it. Hello, what do you want? Over, go on, over. She's so cute. Okay, so continued on with today's transmission. So it's written out, so I can just deliver it. And also, if you want to read this again, then click. If you're not already, click on the Substack. If you're on my YouTube, click on the Substack, or LinkedIn, click on the Substack link underneath the video. So just take a nice deep breath, hand on the heart, hand on the belly, soften the shoulders, soften the spine, soften the jaw. Exhaling out, emptying out, open up spaciousness to receive this transmission as resonance. Noticing as I read through what resonates. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing, it's just noticing what resonates in your field. And here we go. Day 97, Harmonic Stabilisers of 3i Atlas Cosmic Wave. From Empathic Healer to Field Stabiliser. What if this is what the 111 days to align and shine has really been the soul initiation about? And today also represents an honoring and acknowledgement of the Harmonic Union Codex between myself and my partner Steve, something we've been anchoring through our back-to-back, which I've shared in earlier videos, every day breathing together back-to-back, anchoring coherence, calming the nervous system, and really shifting out of that survival nervous system to presence, embodied presence nervous system in a somatic language, in a language that the body understands. And the body is this expression of our higher self, really, and subconscious, and all, really. So allowing the body to lead is part of the shift, that the body becomes actualized as an intelligence of its own, to be trusted and to listen deeply to and attune with. Okay, here we go. There are days when life does not move forward as much as retune itself. Today, December 16, 2025, feels like one of those days. Not dramatic, not loud, but unmistakably precise. And my day, this is my beach hair, by the way, my day started with an amazing morning rave at 6:30 by the beach. This is my dream. Headsets on, a great list of dance tunes, seeing the ocean here in Tairua. The waves coming in, the sun rising in the sky. So blissful, so joyful, so embodied. And then after that, went down to the beach. The ocean was so calm and perfect for a swim. And yeah, just delighted my body and soul to be in that water. Not dramatic, not loud, but unmistakably precise with coherence. And what supported me to really start to tune into this 3i Atlas as we continue. So something has shifted quietly at the back of my heart. Yeah, so at the end of the dance and after the beach, some stuff started to shift around the back of my heart, which was connected to a shift in me around, the old belonging, and through obligation, participation, conditions into this inner belonging. So again, connected to the releasing of old survival timelines, of conditional timelines, to just transmuting those. So I returned after the dance and swim actually with quite a feeling of intensity at the back of my heart, but yet just feeling very very joyful and peaceful within my beingness, but just noticing that. And again, that's what kind of opened up my curiosity, and to really start to go deeper and deeper into the energetics, and how it connected to 3i Atlas, and just follow my intuition and asking questions. Okay, so I'll reread this again. There are days when life does not move forward as much as retune itself. Retune, attune, retune itself. Today, December 16, 2025, feels like one of those days. And I think AI Atlas is going to be closest to the Earth tomorrow, the next day, or the next few days. So, not dramatic, not loud, but unmistakably precise. Something has shifted quietly at the back of my heart, a place that doesn't usually ask for words, yet today feels gently illuminated, as if a new rhythm has settled in and said, "You can rest here now." So, to really be able to rest into the back of the heart, that's that surrendered, to feel really safe to really sit in our energy field rather than always this forward motion. I remember years ago, I used to get sore shins. And when I really connected to the energetics, I realized I'd gone through my life feeling like, up to that stage, feeling like I had a hand on my back, this kind of pressure, always like moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. And yeah. And so that came into my walk and it was always rushing, 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 busy, busy, busy. And yeah, I used to get aches in my shins. You have to giggle with the human. And this journey we've had with compassion and love, of course. Okay, something has shifted quietly at the back of my heart, a place that doesn't usually ask for words, yet today feels gently illuminated, as if a new rhythm has settled in and said, "You can rest here. You can rest here." A subtle energetic turning. What I notice most is not the intensity but stability, a sense that my heart is no longer trying to process or heal or rush everything it encounters, but instead allowing experience to pass through without resistance. There's a new permission here, permission to be authentic, unarmored, and present without explanation. I experience the current moment as part of a wider movement, what I symbolically or metaphorically or so for now, we call it what I symbolically call the three eye atlas cosmic wave or wave. To me, it feels like a collective invitation to loosen outdated patterns of effort, fear, and emotional suppression, and to remember a simpler coherence rooted in breath and presence. Rather than meeting disruption with struggle and resistance, something in me has learned to meet it with a rhythm of breath, surrender, and embodied trust. And that's been the journey very much. 111 days to align and shine, soul initiation. Very grateful. From feeling everything to holding the field. This is the shift that I have very much been experiencing. See if it resonates for you. And also be aware that if you're not feeling it now, it may be what's going to come through in 2026, 2027 for you. I notice that I often go through things a bit before others so that I can mirror that back into the collective, or just support people with a deep embodied authentic resonance and compassionate field. From feeling everything to holding the field. For much of my life, I identified as an empathic healer, sensing deeply, feeling intensely, often carrying more than was mine. That way of serving was real and it was necessary, and now it feels like it's gently evolving post 2020 and accelerated post 2023. I no longer feel called to fix or absorb. Instead, I find myself stabilizing simply by being present. The shift from awakening to remembering, remembering wholeness through presence, anchoring wholeness through remembrance. If I had language for it, I'd say some of us are learning how to act as harmonic stabilizers. Harmonic stabilizers. People who don't push against change, but allow disruption to reorganize into coherence through breath, groundedness, and honesty. And woo-hoo-hoo, has there been a lot of disruption in my life over these years and in all our lives. Not everyone needs to do this work consciously, but some of us feel it in our bodies first. A shift in service. This transition hasn't been abstract. It's shown up in very real ways. So one of the real ways it's shown up for me is my calendar looks different now. No matter how much my human has tried to, make improvements on it, my calendar looks different now. Fewer bookings, fewer transactions, less striving, more trust, more surrender, more allowing. And strangely, that is allowing more peace. More peace. And yeah, through the back to back with Steve the last couple of weeks, really, really helping to regulate, to regulate the last vestiges of that deep primal, primal, is it primal? I guess it is, animalistic survival, limbic brain reactivity of the nervous system, not feeling safe to let go of control, basically, the part that had, been conditioned or orchestrated or, dropped into that 3D density and operated from vigilance and bracing and control, etc., etc., and rushing and urgency and make it happen and proving and performing and all that stuff that just now feels absolutely exhausting and uninteresting. I bless those who are still in that game, but for my soul, it's just like, okay, gone through the passage and not, it's just not resonant. Simple as that, it's not resonant. I'm learning that service doesn't always come through effort and doing and giving. Biggest thing to learn. Sometimes it arrives through invitation, receptivity, when presence itself becomes the offering. It feels less like doing and more like being available. My body too feels different, as if it's learning a new language of responsiveness, one that isn't tied to identity or role, but to resonance. So basically, I'm attuning more to resonance rather than the story of Mary Jo, about the story of Mary Jo's past or Mary Jo's ancestry, or whatever the story, even Mary Jo's stories of awakening. They're all beautiful. They got me to here, but now I'm more aligned. My soul is more aligned and interested to have all of that integrated into my field and to really, just more focused in resonance and alignment, coherence. Okay, moving on. Love as a stabilizing field. Love is real. None of this unfolds in isolation. I guess I have to give my partner a bit of credit, eh? My relationship with my husband, Steve, feels central to this phase, not as a dramatic spiritual storyline. Steve wouldn't appreciate a dramatic spiritual storyline. He's far too grounded and earthed for that. But as something much quieter and truer. We don't frame ourselves as twin flames. We've never resonated with twin flames. That story never fit. What resonates instead is the idea of divine counterparts. And I must give a lady called Sharon Martin the credit for that, because she was the first one who introduced me to divine counterparts. And I was like, yeah, that resonates for us. Twin flames, not so much. And I never quite got why it did, but now it starts to make a lot more sense. What resonates instead is the idea of divine counterparts. Two people choosing each other freely, daily, without ownership or projection. Our relationship is grounded in breath, choice, and sovereignty. Love without possession, stability without stagnation. Love without possession, stability without stagnation. In that way, our partnership feels like a small, living node of coherence. Not perfect, not elevated above others, just real. And real, I'm learning, is powerful. And if you haven't gone down and read the Substack, or if you're on my YouTube, click on the Substack link, you'll find some beautiful images of me and Steve sitting back to back with beautiful crystals and AI atlas up in the sky. It's beautiful. Okay, next, a living codex. If I sense a transmission here, it isn't coming from the sky so much as from the body, from lived experience integrating itself. What has transpired is simple. Something that once moved inward, healing, processing, understanding, awakening, has now begun to move outward as presence, remembrance, wholeness. Nothing to do, everything to be. I am divine love. Ole ikile la kala hakono ele ikine la kala hakolo lo kono lo kile ikile la kala hakolo olo okono ele ikile la kala la kono. How can I be doing my soul light language with you, with your little head in here? Oh, the joy of being human. The joy of being human and multifaceted, multidimensional. Codex of light. Grounded, embodied. Yay. Okay, enough. Go, over you go. Over you go. Go over. Over. No, over. Sit. Okay. A living codex. If I sense a transmission here, it isn't coming from the sky so much as from the body, from lived experience integrating itself. What has transpired is simple. Something that once moved inward, healing, processing, understanding, has now begun to move outward as presence. The field around me feels more honest, less tolerant of distortion, more welcoming of breath based truth. I don't experience this as a destination. It feels like a template, one among many, that others may attune to in their own way, in their own time. And perhaps that's the greater story unfolding. Not heroes or saviors, but ordinary humans learning how to stand coherently in change. And discovering that sometimes simply being steady with breath and ground and presence is enough. Breathe it in, beautiful heart, beautiful body, beautiful soul. Receive what is here for you as a resonance. Notice what you notice. Closing reflection, an invitation to listen. If any part of this reflection resonates, I invite you to pause for a moment, not to analyze, not to agree or disagree, just to notice what your body is doing as you read. Is your breath shallow or deep? Question mark. Does your chest feel open, guarded, curious, tired, calm? Question mark. Is there something in your life right now that no longer needs to be solved, only held in presence? Question mark. Sacred witnessing? Question mark. Loving compassion? Question mark. Trust and allowing? Question mark. Surrender? Question mark. Many of us are moving through a season where old ways of being useful, loving, or doing it right are quietly dissolving. Are doing it wrong, doing it right, doing it wrong, the whole duality game, are quietly dissolving. That can feel unsettling, especially if your sense of purpose has been tied to effort, caretaking, or identity, as mine certainly was and has been for lifetimes. Whew, big journey to, yeah, to, yeah, to integrate all of that into coherence and to complete those energetic, emotional, recursive loops. Okay, that can, so many of us are moving through a season where old ways of being useful, loving, or doing it right or wrong are quietly dissolving. That can feel unsettling, especially if your sense of purpose has been tied, not only sense of purpose, sense of value, sense of worth, sense of validation, sense of approval. Had been tied to effort, caretaking, or identity. The healer, the retreat facilitator. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's been a magical journey, all perfect unfolding evolution. Perhaps the invitation of this moment is simpler than we expect. What happens if you stop trying to fix, improve, and heal the field, aka yourself or others, and instead allow your presence to become steady within it, within the field of consciousness? You might reflect on, where in your life are you being asked to soften rather than strive, or work it out, or figure it out, or understand it all? Anything that involves effort. Where in your life are you being asked to soften, gentle, soften, soothe, nourish, rather than strive, push, shove, control, try? Question mark. What would it feel like to trust your breath more than your story? So it's a redirection rather than going into the emotional mental stories connected to past stuff or future projections. The redirect is to drop into the breath and to allow the breath and the body to lead, and to, instead of going into those stories and perpetuating them, is to bring them into coherence, to release the charge, the trigger, and the identity, the attachment to the identity with those stories. So it's like they dissolve, they dissipate, they resolve. So it's not a denial, it's not a resistance, it's being present with. This is why meditation, grounding, being in nature, myself and Steve back to back. If you have somebody to do back to back, it doesn't have to be a romantic partner or a divine counterpart. It can just be, friend, family member, child, parent, whomever, really. It's just to have that somatic feeling, and to have a resonance and coherence, where two or more are gathered in willingness and harmonic resonance creates a powerful field of coherence. Okay, so what would it feel like to trust your breath more than your story? Question mark. And last one, are you sensing a shift from doing toward being even if you can't yet name what comes next. There is no correct interpretation here, only your lived experience exactly as it is. However, you meet this, through words, images, or quiet recognition, may it remind you that coherence is not something to achieve, it's something you remember. And sometimes simply staying present is already enough. And so it is, awakening to remember. And if you're not already on my Substack, you can share this or subscribe. If you click onto the Substack, if you're not already on there, and you can leave a comment on my Substack or onto my YouTube or LinkedIn or wherever you see this. And lastly, I am now open and available to your invitation as a harmonic stabilizer, embodied oracle of field resonance, of coherence. You can contact me via my email, maryjo@vibrantwellness.nz, or you could write to divineloveambassador@gmail.com. You can call me or text me on my WhatsApp number, which is 0064 2447, from anywhere around the globe. And also, hopefully Steve agrees with this. I haven't actually run it by him. I'm sure he'll be good. Steve and I are open and available to invitations as a Harmonic Union Codex, and to support. Yeah, it would be a joy to support others with this, if that's something that calls, or just that beingness, that presence as breath and stabilizer, that we seem to represent those that polarity dynamic. Well, we do. So yeah, and that the email for both myself and Steve is maryjo and steve halligan @gmail.com. My webpage, www.vibrantwellness.nz, and www.radiantessence.co.nz. So there you go. That's